Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are a subscriber of this channel, then you must have seen my previous videos about the gram staining. So today's video is about the gram staining, but first let me give you a preview or the recap of our previous videos. So gram stain, as we know, is not gram stain, sorry. So the staining of bacteria is basically divided into two types, that is vital staining and supravital staining. And as we have studied earlier, that in vital staining we don't kill the bacteria, whereas in supravital staining what we do is we kill the bacteria and fix it. So that was the vital and supravital staining. So under the supravital staining comes the different types of staining techniques. So first is the simple staining, second one is the negative staining, third one is the impregnation method, and fourth is the differential staining. So under differential staining comes the gram stain, your acid fast staining, or your Albert's staining. So differential staining, what basically does is it distinguishes one bacteria from the other types of bacteria on the basis of the colors. What they does is they provide color contrast to different bacteria. So today our topic is the gram stain. So as you can see, I have made two illustrations, or you can see pictures. There is one is gram positive bacteria and the second one is the gram negative bacteria. So in gram positive bacteria, these bacteria, when we observe it, they basically appears purple in color, or the second one appears in, while the gram negative bacteria appears pink in color. So the procedure is first what we do is first we take the specimen or the clinical specimens. It could be whatever, the same as we've studied earlier. So what we do is we do the primary staining. So the primary staining we use here is the methylene blue or crystal violet. Methylene blue or crystal violet. We take the specimens on a glass slide and we pour these stains. These are methylene blue or crystal violet. Basically both these stains are basic in nature. So after pouring methylene blue or crystal violets, what they does is they imparts blue color to the bacteria. So after applying the primary staining, what we does is we rinse it off. So after the application of primary staining, what this as they are basic in nature, and this methylene blue, we can use either methylene blue or the crystal violet, and they naturally happens to be violet or violet in color. So after the primary staining, what we does it, we allow it to dry for 30 to 60 seconds and then rinse it off. And after rinsing it, the second step here is the application of mordant. A mordant is nothing but a substance which is used to fix dyes, or you generally use it also on fabrics to stain the penetrate the dye. So the application of mordant here is to help the deeper penetration of the dyes. So the mordant we here use is the grams iodine. So the purpose of grams iodine here is to help the deeper penetration of these stains. So after application of the mordant, we decolorize it. So the third step is the decolorization. The name here itself implies that it is decolorization, means we have to decolorize the previous stains. So in decolorization, what we do is we take 5 to 10% sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4, or acetone or aniline dyes and wash it off the glass slide. So what happens is your gram-positive bacteria, we will study in the later videos that these gram-positive bacteria, their cell wall is mainly contained of mucopeptide, or we can say peptidoglycan, due to which it retains the primary staining, which was your methylene blue or crystal violet, which happens to be your violet in color. So also after the application of decolorization, what happens is, despite decolorization, these stains remains. So after decolorization, what happens? The crystal violet color, so the violet color happens to stay. So the fourth step here is the counter staining. In counter staining, what we does is we take a different stain, which can be your safranin and carbamazepine. So in counter staining, what we does is we take safranin or carbamazepine. These dyes are basically red in color. So what we does is we put these dyes in order to counteract the primary stain. But what happens is, because of your gram-positive cell wall are thick and they're mostly comprised of your mucopeptide, they happens to stain the violet color. So as you can see, your gram-positive bacteria, despite decolorization, they happens to be violet in color. Sorry, I didn't have the violet color, so I did it with the blue pen. So your gram-positive bacteria, they are violet in color. So examples of these bacteria are your Streptococcus, Staphylococcus. These are mainly your cocci-shaped bacteria, and pneumococci is also cocci-shaped bacteria, but bacillus they are your bacilli-shaped bacteria. So next is your gram-negative bacteria. The procedure is same. What we do is, first we take the primary staining. So same, will take the methylene blue and crystal violet. After application of these stains on the glass slide, we will rinse it off. And second is the application of mordant. Here is the grams iodine. Let me remind you what these modern dentists, they help in the deeper penetration of these stains. So third with this is the decolorization. So the same process, H2SO4 or your acetone. But here is the what comes the difference. So after application of mordant, the gram iodines, after application of mordant, the third step is the decolorization. So what we take is, we take sulfuric acid or your acetone and then pour it over the glass slide. But to remind you, your gram-negative bacteria, they happens to have very less amount of mucopeptide, or as I said, peptidoglycan layer, due to which these the complex formation of diiodine complex, they tend to wash off after the application of this decolorization. Sorry, after the process of decolorization, which is after the application of your sulfuric acid or acetone. So what happens is, during this decolorization process, due to more lipid, there are various reasons which I will explain in my later videos, but I'll just give one more reasons, that due to there is more lipid content of gram-negative bacteria, but there is less lipid content of gram-positive bacteria. So due to more lipid content and due to less amount of mucopeptide, this gram-negative bacteria, what they does is they decolorize the primary stain, which was your crystal violet. Okay, they decolorize the crystal violet. So what happens is they are actually decolorizing. So the fourth step is your counter staining. Here what we does is we take the same safranin or your carbamazepine. Let me remind you, both these dyes were red in color. Both these dyes were red in color. So in this step what happens is, as I told you earlier, that the primary stain was decolorized. The reason being the less amount of mucopeptide content and the more amount of lipid content. So what happens here is, after decolorization, the primary stains which was violet in color, it is already decolorized. So what will happen if we put another stain which is your counter staining, such as safranin or carbamazepine? What they will do is, since it is already decolorized, then if we put those safranin and carbamazepine, they will take its color. So that's the reason why this gram-negative bacteria happens to be red in color. So this is your basic difference. Your gram-positive bacteria is violet in color and your gram-negative bacteria is red in color. So your examples of gram-negative bacteria are your gonococci, meningococci. Your gonococci are the causative organisms of your gonorrhea, and your meningococci are the causative organisms of your meningitis, and salmonella, shigella, these are all the various examples. So if you have this is what the basic difference between gram stain and the gram positive and the gram negative bacteria. In my next video I will discuss the reasons or the mechanism of gram staining reaction. So this is the gram stain. So if you like my video and if you understood it, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, as it helps me grow my channel and helps to put me a better content for you all guys. Thank you.